What is happening in Syria? What America and Russia are doing in Syria? The conflict in Syria is entering the 8th year now. I would like to start with a real incident that happened in Syria a few days back. There are two children named Noor and Ala in Syria. They were hiding under a bed as they were afraid of the continuous bomb blasts, dead people, and bloodshed outside their house because of the war. Their mother, who is an English teacher, wanted to tell what's happening in Syria to the rest of the world. She thought of uploading a video of what's happening there on internet, hoping that someone might come for help. She asked the two children to come out and tell the country's situation in a video. She thought it might be impactful if the children speak it out. She pleaded them to do this as they were refusing to come out. She asked them to stand near a window as the sunlight would help capture the video clearly. They stood near the window, and the moment she started recording, a bomb was dropped from a plane on a hospital nearby. The effect of the bomb blast was so severe, and a sharp iron piece came fleeing through the window and cuts the forehead of Ala. Everyone was thrown apart. The mother ran and took Ala in her hands. Ala was bleeding heavily. She came running out seeking medical help. But she saw that the hospital is completely destroyed. Some doctors who escaped the bomb blast were trying to help people with some first aid equipment they have. This best describes the situation in Syria now. Why Syria is going through this? What is happening in Syria? Why people are suffering? To answer all these questions, we need to go back 100 years. In 1900, there was a great kingdom called Ottoman Empire, which controlled much of the southeastern Europe, Western Asia, and Northern Africa. And after the demise of this empire, two countries were formed in the Middle East. For your information, there are two types of Muslims: Sunni Muslims and Shia Muslims. Sunni Muslims join together and form a country called Saudi Arabia. In the meantime, the Shia Muslims gathered to form another country called Iran. Iran is a democratic country like India, so they can elect leaders to rule the country. But Saudi Arabia nominate a king to rule the country, and everybody is under him. So whatever the king dictates will happen. Between these two countries, there are two common countries: Syria and Iraq. This is the basic demography. Hope you can understand this. What happens next was both these countries discover oil wells on their lands. Eventually, petrol became the much needed fuel across the world. Everybody starts running after the oil. It was found in greater quantities in Middle East, especially in Iraq, Syria, Iran, and Saudi Arabia. Suddenly, America enters the scene to seek help from the king of Saudi Arabia. America asks the king to provide the oil wells to them. Saudi Arabia agrees to it with the condition that America should recognize them as the leaders of all the Muslim countries. They both join hands and sign agreements. America also declares Saudi Arabia as the leader for all the Muslim countries and starts owning the oil wells. In the meanwhile, Iran denies giving their oil wells to America. Iran starts selling their oil to any country of their choice and for any price that they decide. This becomes a problem to America. If Iran starts selling oil for much lesser price, America cannot sell it for higher price in the global market. So America cunningly peeps inside Iran, destroys the democracy, supports Iranian rebels, and hands over the leadership of Iran to a dictator who starts supporting America. As a result, Iran starts losing its Islamic value. Pubs start appearing in the streets of Iran. People start consuming Coke and Pepsi. Women start to dress as they like. Iran starts moving towards a Western culture. Islamic leaders start thinking that something is fishy. They join hands with similar-minded individuals and start revolting against the Westernization. They kick the dictator out and appoint another Islamic leader for Iran. They keep America completely out of Iran. They deny giving oil to America and starts deciding whom they want to sell. Now, Iraq, which is lying between Iran and Saudi Arabia, which was also preventing fight between these two countries all the while, has a leader named Saddam Hussein. Iraq has a mix of both Sunni and Shia Muslims. Iraq also was selling oil to countries of their choice and denying oil to America. America could not accept this, so they started something called War on Terrorism. America gave a false reason for this war. They said that Iraq was holding nuclear weapons, and to prevent the world, they are starting war against Iraq. After the war, they started owning the oil wells in Iraq, put Saddam Hussein in jail, and later executed him. But America could not expose a single nuclear bomb from this country. So both Iraq and Saudi Arabia became the puppets in the hands of America. The only two countries left were Iran and Syria. Seeing what happened to Iraq, Iran starts supporting Assad, the current president of Syria, who was also a Shia Muslim. Remember that Syria also contains both Sunni and Shia Muslims. America and Saudi Arabia started supporting people who are protesting the dictatorship of Assad's government, that is, the Syrian rebels. On the other hand, Iran started supporting the government of Syria. Now Russia enters the scene and starts supporting Iran. This explodes into a civil war in Syria. In the meanwhile, a group of Sunni Muslims separate and form an entity called ISIS, also known as ISIS. They ask Russia, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and America to move out of Syria. They want to establish an Islamic rule in Iraq and Syria, and they start destroying people who oppose them. ISIS means Islamic State of Iraq and Syria. And ISIS starts to expand drastically. So America declared that they want to demolish ISIS and declare war in Syria. America, which was only funding the protesters so far, now started bombing ISIS directly in Syria. Also, Iran and Russia started joining hands with Assad government to attack ISIS. ISIS, though expanded drastically in a short period, started shrinking because of the attack from both these ends. On one hand, America and Saudi Arabia has a motto and supports the Syrian rebels. On the other hand, Iran and Russia has another motto and supports the government of Syria. But who is actually affected by these attacks? It is the common people in Syria. In this chaotic situation, Assad government cannot distinguish who is in support of them and who is against them. So they are bombing places where people crowd is seen. Chemical weapons are being used in this civil war by both parties. Bombing kills everyone without demarcation, including innocent children, women, and elderly people. Iran claims that America is doing all these bombings. America is telling it is the Syrian rebels who are doing all these bombings. Both sides also claim that they are doing it against ISIS only. Many armed groups have also involved themselves in the ongoing Syrian civil war. Countries like Turkey and Jordan are also contributing to this civil war for their own reasons. Now, this is creating a very complicated situation. What is the result? So far, there are around 4,70,000 innocent people killed due to these bombings and gunfirings. 70 lakhs people are homeless and are in the streets right now. 70 lakhs is not a small number. They are pleading for help to move to any other country as refugees. The painful situation is no country is ready to take them as refugees. They don't have a place to live, no place to go. and just being killed in bomb blasts every single day. This is the essence of what is happening in Syria now. It's all because of international politics and the desire to own the oil wells. Innocent children who don't know what is happening are being killed and injured in mass numbers. It's painful to look at the crying children. I don't know what else to say. Save Syria. Please share this video with your friends. If this is your first time here, consider subscribing. Thank you.